The narrow streets of modern London, people of different nationalities, red buses, Big Ben, Tower Bridge. If you stand at the crossroads in London today, you will hear at least a dozen languages. The number of people born outside Britain is about 40%. This city of diversity is truly unique. But if you turn the clock back just 2,000 years, the scene changes completely. An empty tidal marsh, a town of no strategic value to anyone except the Romans. What happened next? Invasion, fire, plague, revolution. How did a small trading center become the heart of an empire? Today, we will explore the 2,000-year history of London, the modern global metropolis, starting from that Roman marsh. Let's begin our journey through time.
The year is 43 AD. 4 Roman legions arrive on the coast of Kent. They need a bridge over the River Thames that will secure their supply lines. They choose the narrowest part of the river, where London Bridge stands today. Within a decade, Londinium is a bustling port city. Merchants from Gaul, soldiers from Syria, traders from North Africa come. But just 17 years later, disaster strikes. The British native Queen Boudica rebels against Roman rule. Her army burns Londinium down. Archaeological excavations still reveal layers of burnt ash. The Romans rebuild the city. They build walls, parts of which still survive today. In its heyday, Londinium was home to about 60,000 people, the largest city in Britain. There was an amphitheater, bathhouses, a forum, but by 410, Rome itself is beginning to crumble. Germanic tribes are encroaching on the fringes of the Roman Empire. Britain is far away, defense is expensive. Emperor Honorius declared, "You live for yourselves." The legion left. Londinium's economy collapsed immediately. Businesses closed, people left. Over the course of a generation, a vast city became a settlement of hundreds of squatters.
After the Romans left, the Saxons came. They were mainly farmers, avoiding cities. They thought the old Roman city was haunted. A Saxon poet said it was made by monsters. But the pull of the river brought people. Around 670, they built a new settlement a mile west of the Roman city, London Wick, where Covent Garden is today. 8,000 people lived here. Amber came from the Baltic, wine jars from the Rhineland, metalwork from France and Germany. But at the end of the 8th century, the Vikings came. In 842 and 851, they sacked London Wick. King Alfred the Great, after driving out the Danes in 886, made a strategic decision. He brought everyone back inside the walls of the Roman city, which was easier to defend. The new name was Londonburg, London Fortress. The old London Wick remained empty and was called Aldwych, meaning the old settlement. Over the next 150 years, the city changed hands between Saxon and Danish rulers. In 1042, King Edward the Confessor built Westminster Abbey to the west of the city. This changed the map of London for the future, the city for trade, Westminster for power.
When Edward the Confessor died childless in 1066, a dispute over the throne of England began. Harold Godwinson became king, but William, Duke of Normandy, claimed the throne as his rightful heir. Harold was killed at the Battle of Hastings in October. On Christmas Day 1066, William was crowned king at Westminster Abbey. The Normans arrived. William built 3 fortresses to keep the people of London under control, the largest of which was the Tower of London. The White Tower, 90 feet high, with walls 12 feet thick, was a symbol of power. Medieval London was cramped, chaotic, but increasingly wealthy. Merchants formed guilds, goldsmiths, fishmongers, drapers. These became so powerful that the king had to bargain with them. In 1215, the city gained the right to elect its own mayor and freedom from unnecessary taxes in the Magna Carta. London Bridge was completed in stone in 1209, the only bridge across the Thames for the next 600 years. Shops, houses, chapels, even the heads of traitors were hung on iron spikes on the bridge. In 1348, the Black Death arrived. Half of London died from a plague carried by rats and flies. The streets were deserted, bodies piled up. The city slowly turned around. In 1381, the Peasants' Revolt, led by Wat Tyler, the common people took over London and sacked the Tower. Although the rebellion was crushed, the ruling class was terrified. The common people of London discovered their power.
By 1500, London had a population of 50,000. Then it grew by leaps and bounds. In 1600, 200,000. In 1650, almost 400,000. London, the largest city in Europe. Henry VIII founded the Church of England himself without the permission of the Pope. He closed the monasteries, confiscated their vast lands. The nobles and wealthy merchants bought the lands and built houses, which led to the expansion of London. During the reign of Elizabeth, London was the cultural capital. In 1599, the Globe Theatre opened on the South Bank. Shakespeare staged Hamlet and King Lear. The East India Company was founded in 1600. The foundations of the empire were laid. But London was always at risk, disease and fire. In 1665, the plague struck again. At its peak, 7,000 people died a week. The rich fled, the poor were trapped. About 100,000 people died, a quarter of the city. The following year, on September 2nd, 1666, a bakery on Pudding Lane catches fire. Hot summer, strong winds. In 4 days, London burns. 85% of buildings destroyed, 13,000 houses, 87 churches, Old St. Paul's Cathedral. Amazingly, only 6 people die, but 100,000 people are left homeless. Sir Christopher Wren presents a new plan, wide boulevards, classical architecture. But land ownership is complicated, rebuilding is necessary, so the streets remain in the medieval pattern. But the new law allows houses to be made of stone and brick. And Wren is given the task of rebuilding St. Paul's Cathedral. The iconic dome takes 35 years to build, which even withstood the Blitz of World War II. London in the 18th century was the center of the Enlightenment. Coffee houses were the internet of the time, where news and ideas were exchanged. Lloyd's Coffee House became Lloyd's of London, insurance market. Jonathan's Coffee House became the London Stock Exchange. Meanwhile, London was the capital of the empire. After the opening of Westminster Bridge in 1750, 6 centuries later, London's second bridge was built. After Napoleon's defeat in 1815, Britain became the most powerful country in the world. Wealth poured into London from India, the Caribbean, and Africa. Then came the Industrial Revolution. Factories, railways, mass production. London's population was 1 million in 1801, 25 million in 1851, and 65 million in 1901, the largest city in the world. What the Victorians built is still astonishing today. Trafalgar Square in the 1840s, Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament, Gothic Revival, in the 1850s. In 1851, the Great Exhibition, the glass and iron Crystal Palace, attracted 6 million visitors. Britain demonstrated its industrial dominance. At the same time, Joseph Bazalgette created the sewer system that is still in use today. The Great Stink of 1858 was so terrible that Parliament was closed. Bazalgette's sewers prevented cholera, saving millions of lives. In 1863, the world's first subway, the London Underground, opened. In 1894, Tower Bridge was built. But Victorian London was a city of extreme inequality. The rich lived luxurious lives in Mayfair and Belgravia, while the poor crammed into the slums of the East End. Tens of thousands of people died of cholera.
In 1854, Dr. John Snow proved that cholera was waterborne, not airborne. Until then, no one had understood. In 1829, Robert Peel founded the Metropolitan Police, the first professional police force known as the Bobby. In 1888, Jack the Ripper terrorized Whitechapel, killing 5 women, never caught. Charles Dickens captured the contrast in his novels, the factories of the poor, the slums, and the richest empire in the world, all in one city.
The 20th century brought London to the ground. Around 670 Londoners were killed in World War I German Zeppelin and airplane attacks, and about 1.5 million Londoners died on the battlefield. But the worst is World War II. London was bombed almost every night during the German Blitz from September 1940 to May 1941. The entire neighborhood is flattened. Miraculously, St. Paul's Cathedral survives. Its resilience amidst smoke and fire is part of history. By the end of the war, nearly 1 million buildings were damaged or destroyed, 30,000 Londoners dead, millions homeless. Post-war London is bankrupt, exhausted. The empire began to crumble. India became independent in 1947. Rationing continued until 1950. 12,000 people died in 5 days in the Great Smog of 1952. But London was built again. The 1951 Festival of Britain signaled a new beginning. In 1948 came the Windrush generation from the Caribbean. Later, millions of immigrants from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Africa, Eastern Europe. 1960s swinging London, Beavles, Rolling Stones, Carnaby Street, Mary Quant. In an instant, London became young again. The following decades were difficult. Economic depression, strikes, IRA terror. By the 1980s, the Docklands were abandoned, the East End neglected. Then the massive redevelopment. Canary Wharf was built on the old dock area. The financial sector wakes up. London reinvented itself as a world financial center.
The 21st century began with the Millennium Dome, the expensive flop that later became the O2 Arena. London continues to grow. 2012 Olympics bring transformation to East London, investment, infrastructure. The city's population exceeded 9 million, the highest since World War II. Diversity is the definition of modern London. More than 300 languages are spoken here. Caribbean culture in Brixton, South Asian society in Southall, Chinatown, Turkish Dalston, Polish Hammersmith. Food from any country in the world, music from any tradition, people from any place can be found here. The sky is changing. The Shard, Gherkin, walkie-talkie building, glass and steel towers alongside traditional architecture. There are debates, constant discussions, but everything is changing. London survives. Roman withdrawal, Viking invasion, Black Death, Great Fire, Blitz. Each time it has been rebuilt, each time adapted, each time drawing in new people and new ideas. That's what makes London, London. Complicated, crowded, expensive, messy. And it's been that way for 2,000 years.